has sent me some footage, and it relates to what constitutes a name, what grammatically constitutes a name in relation to the styles manuals that are used in English and the styles manuals that are used with the corporate entities that are administrating our lands as we speak at present. This is now 2019. So I'm going to leave you with Rowan and his research, and he's also going to touch on the styles manuals and give you an idea of what styles manuals relate to this sort of a corporate takeover of our lands and our mineral and energy wealth. So I present Rowan Lorian and his latest findings.
Hey guys, welcome to another one of our videos. It's just something I wanted to quickly, well, not quickly, but I wanted to show you. We get accused of, not presenting any proper evidence and all the rest of it, but we've got it, it's all here. So this book here, the New Chicago, we spoke about in the last video, chapter 8.4, page 462, capitalization of personal names. Names and initials of persons, real or fictitious, are capitalized. Space should always be used between any initials except when the initials are used alone. So examples: Jane Doe, George S. McGovern, and they always put the full stop, the period. There we go. After that, so that's the Chicago 17. So that's how you write a name. This is the Styles Manual. Goes around the world. And it's exactly the same as in the last one. This is the 16. It's even the same chapter, 8.4. Capitalizations, names and initials of persons, real or fictitious, are capitalized. The space should be used between any initials except when the initials are used alone. And the same, exactly the same. So this is how you write a name. Okay, and the Chicago is the official style of the Australian Bar Association. This is on their website. So this one, here we go, personal names. Names of all individuals, real or fictitious, should always be given initial capitals in publication and correspondence. For example, same thing, one capital letter, rest in lowercase. Not the all majuscule or uppercase they keep talking about. Guys, now even if we go as far as going into the Oxford Styles Manual, which we spoke of, 5.3.1, page 89. Capital initials mark out the status of the words so that reader interprets them correctly. Ordinary proper names are usually recognisable when they are set through error or because of the preference of the person named with lowercase initials. However, where a proper name consists of a common nouns and qualifiers, capital initials are needed to distinguish the specific usage from a general descriptive usage. Consider the difference between the meaning conferred by application of initial capitals and the following. And there's some examples there. So guys, there's no secret about this. This is how you write a name, and this goes around the world. This isn't like a regional thing. If they're too much for you, if you're a police officer, and I showed one of these books to a police officer, and, oh, we don't understand that, so I went and I got these books. I've showed them before. This is a brand new one. So this is grades 3 to 4, ages 8 to 10, handwriting. So we're going to find ourselves a good example here. So here we go. Ed Elephant eats everything. So capital for the names, and that's how you do it. Jolly Joe juggles jam jar. Sorry, I should give you some light. So guys, if this is how we're teaching our children to read, why the hell are we turning around and doing the all capitals? So if that's a bit much, that was ages 8 to 10, this is ages 4 to 6. This is page 20, how to write Jason. There we go. A big J, a little A, a little S, a little O, a little N. That's how you do it. And if you had another part of your name, if you had a second name, a middle name, it would be the same in the word element. So guys, now I want to teach you how to read a birth certificate. Sorry, I've got the fan off in here and it's just insanely hot, so you have to excuse me. These are two birth certificates. This one, guys, this is a copy of the original from 1972. The actual entry into one of the entries into the registry. This is one from 2019. I didn't apply for this, but this is a separate document. This is changed from this. So what's happened, I mean, the numbers are the same up the top here, but what this one is, there's a few things wrong. So this one here, so we've got column 1, place of registration, that's not on here. So also number in register, 2190. This is missing that. Okay, so over here, this took me, I got this fixed, guys, because this was this Hilda here in all capitals. Now it's in title case, and my family name, so that's the name of my family, and that's correct. Now if they want to charge me with a crime, well, they're not charging my family, so why would they use a family name? And over here, that's the magisterial text, the Unicode in all capitals, so that's the false one. That's the trademark. That's the word mark. That can't even be on this document. It's not supposed to be there. So then you've got Christian name. Obviously I changed the Christian name in here, because that's who I am. So under the Acts, I was actually born in 72, so that put me under the Birth, Deaths and Marriages Act 1989 UK. It wasn't an Australian Act. So in New South Wales I was born under a UK Act. So what they had to do is they had to create a brand new birth certificate when they changed from the UK over to this private corporation that's running Australia is through the US Fed. So they've got to, under that Act, and even under the subsequent, the 73 I think Act was, and the 95 Act, they only require you to have a name. And there you go, given name, Christian name. So I've obviously gone from a Christian, and then the Queen has become no longer defender of the faith and closed down the Church of England in 73. And so we had to go over to given names because they were no longer from Christ. 30th of April, really. So, but this is basically a false document straight out. So 5 years it took me to get Hilda changed, and then if you come down here, we get mother. Where are we, mother? I lost my mother. Now, and this certificate here, if I were to hold this, I've now got a trademarked mother, which would be the state. So they keep putting glosses. They just move them around. They have to be on here. So I guess I could be Rowan Laurian Mother now, would be my military title maybe. So, and I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I've got a surname, and a legal name is a Christian name or a given name with a surname, and you're right, they are. It's Rowan Laurian Hilda. Rowan Laurian Esma Hilda. So that full name exists here under this one, 2190, but also Rowan Laurian exists under 2190. So Rowan Laurian Hilda does exist, but he's on this certificate, and this certificate tells you that he's not your property. It tells you that this is your property. And if we were just to read this as it is, so I'll get to it a bit later with the boxes, but you'll see why. But this reads Hilda Rowan Laurian. So there's two entities there. That's not one, because if it was, they're going to put it on. It's like saying that this legal name requires some assembly, or grab that and put that there and create a joinder. That's an assumption, and I can prove that's an assumption. I'm going to read you it, because Birth, Deaths and Marriages told me. There's an email from them. I'm writing in response to inquiry about your birth certificate. The number 2190 was the local registration number used at the local registry office who was able to issue certificate in 1972. At the time, family name was not always put on the birth certificate because the family name was assumed from the child's father's family name. So there you go. It's an assumption. An assumption is just something false held to be true. So therefore, it's immediately in equity, and it immediately requires your consent. Over the years, the registry has updated the format of the birth certificates and has issued various versions of the certificate which are all valid. Well, they're valid, but they're only valid in the corporation. They're not valid in the Commonwealth of Australia. That's just that's the trick. That's, oh, well, it's valid. It's not. That's not valid. That doesn't even That's actually illegal to do that. It's uttering a counterfeit. The registry now only issues birth certificates with the registration number, in your case 87089197, and no longer issues certificate with local numbers. Your birth certificate will be sent to your mother's address by registered mail. Kind regards, Sherry Mayo, Amendments Officer. So they're telling you straight up, Rowan, Laurie and Hilda is an assumed name. The surname is an assumed name. They've taken this. You don't have it. They took custody of it. You should have it. It should be yours. But it's not. It's theirs, and they took it, and that's the trick, and they're not telling you. And that's why I want to get the 2190 certificate, sorry. They won't even admit whether that exists or not. I think that email, that's sort of hinting at it does exist, but I said, well, does it exist? I'm still waiting on that email to come back. So they've made basically a new certificate, and then not only they changed the form, but they've changed the content. Your mother, Hilda, New South Wales up the top there, in all capitals. Birth certificate, birth, deaths and marriages, registration. So this is issued under a different act to the one I was born under. How does that happen? So this somehow I got a new certificate. Both those acts, or all three of those acts, say I only have to have a name. And that's the only, if we want to go name, well, let's find given name, Christian name, surname, family name. They're not in the act. It doesn't say that the act says you have to have a family name or a surname. It just says you have to have a name. So there they are. And that's why we're saying you can only be this entity. They have no jurisdiction over this entity. That's the one they had to create in the trust so that they could give you a remedy to get out, because they're doing, because they're not operating the system from a de jure point of view. The Queen of England, Queen of United Kingdom and Ireland is not the Queen of this. This is the Queen of Australia. This is the private, corporate, US Federal Reserve Rothschild birth certificate. Now, one thing I want to show you guys is the boxes on here. Now, how do you read boxes? Well, they're numbered. So does this mean if we were to read this document, it would go child, so that's a word mark. Show you here family names, given names, sex, mother. So we read these first, and then do we get to this? This document doesn't make any sense. So, and everything out here, I hereby certify this is a true copy of particulars recorded in a register in the state of New South Wales in the Commonwealth of Australia. Well, it is. It's a true copy of particulars. It doesn't say that the particulars are accurate. It says it's a true copy of them in a registry. It doesn't say the registry of birth, deaths and marriages like the Act requires. This could be anyone. This could be the register they use to clean the toilets at BDM, to say they've cleaned them every half hour. So they're telling you that this isn't what it is. I think they forgot they sent me this one. And so they've changed it. And every time they change it, they've changed it without any consent. They just keep making up crap and sending it out. This is counterfeit, and this isn't much better. I don't know. I want to have a look at 2190, but they're just refusing to give it to me. I think I'm getting closer. Guys, now with the boxes, I want to show you something. So I'll just go to the other camera. So this is. This document, so we've worked out it's a legal fiction. It has word marks on it, which are trademarks. Black's Law has a maxim in it, but it's not just in Black's Law, it's in all of them, which is trademarks can't sue or be sued. So how the hell you can do anything with this? Now the police haven't even made up Hilda, Rowan, Lauren, or Rowan, Lauren, Hilda. They've got all capitals, so they've got 3 word marks, but they've got a debt. Now they're stuck with that debt, trying to deal with it, because unless they can pass that debt off to me, but now I can prove that I'm Rowan Lorian. That's it. They've actually said in the statement that I claimed I was Rowan Lorian. Guys, I'm just going to show you this one. Superman. See the boxes? They look familiar. And guess what? I'll show you a nice close up there. All capitals. Guys, this is exactly what your birth certificate is lining up with. This is the closest document I can find, and it's a legal fiction. You know, I don't think you could go out and sue Superman for anything. And the boxes don't read, so you can read them. They go in any direction really, down and across and back, and it's just artwork. It's not a legal document. That says Thum, but doesn't say Thum. It's just an artwork of Thum. We can assign meaning, but we're not really supposed to if we're following closely the rules of style, and that's what they rely on. That's Mother there. That's what they're trying to get us to do, is that we're assigning meaning to something that actually doesn't have meaning, and they're assigning a different meaning to something that doesn't have meaning in language. So that's all the boxes. So your birth certificate is closest related to a comic book. So guys, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm trying to get through. I want to show you. I've printed out for you. So the first thing I want to talk about was the Queen. And sorry, I didn't print out the last page of the Constitution, the notes, but she's in there as well. So this is the first page of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia. Whereas the people of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland and Tasmania, humbly relying upon the blessing of Almighty God, have agreed to unite in one indissoluble federal Commonwealth under the Crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, under the Constitution hereby established. So there it is, it tells you, and it also says at the end there's the oath that you have to take is to the Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, her heirs and successors. So yeah, and it's here too, heirs and successors in the sovereignty of the United Kingdom. So there's nothing to do with the Queen of Australia there. When they made the laws that were there to put in the Queen, like I think the Royal Styles Titles in Act 1953 and 1973, when we changed over to becoming incorporated on the US Federal Reserve in 73. That's why I can't get that birth certificate, because they don't want to give it to me, because it puts me back in the other company, the other nation. So section 128 of this constitution shall not be altered except for the following manner. In proposed alteration must pass by an absolute majority of each House of Parliament, not less than 2 or more than 6 months after the passage through both houses. The proposed law shall be submitted to each state, to the electors qualified to vote in the election for members of the House of Representatives. So they haven't done this. What they've done is they've given you a contract not to use this, and they've done that with the trademark or the word mark, and they keep just screwing around with it. So they just keep making different birth certificates that are just counterfeit in different ways. So although I didn't apply for that birth certificate and I don't hold it. So 117 of the Constitution is subject the Queen, the resident in any state, should not be subject to any other state, or any disability discrimination would not be equally applicable if you were subject to the Queen, resident in such other state. Well, we're in a state of US Federal Reserve, and we are being discriminated against in that. 119, the Commonwealth should protect every state against invasion on the application of the executive government of the state against domestic violence. I applied and they didn't do anything, because they are the invaders. They're not the Commonwealth. So guys, they managed to take over our entire army without firing a shot and without anyone even realising. So this is where it's going to get tricky for them. I think this is why the High Court won't hear my matter. So this is Chapter 1, the Parliament, Part 1, General. The Governor-General, appointed by the Queen, shall be Her Majesty's representative in the Commonwealth, and shall have and may exercise in the Commonwealth during the Queen's pleasure, but subject to this Constitution, such powers and functions as the Queen as the Majesty is pleased to assign him. Well, they can't change the role and style and title of the Queen because it's in the Constitution. We didn't have a referendum under 128. And this part here too says that he can't do it, yet he's gone and done it. And no wonder he's quitting. Now a couple of other things I want to show you guys is that the police have said that I'm a bit of a troublemaker, and that I believe that New South Wales, for some reason, is a US company, registered with 71545, being the Crowning Road of New South Wales. Well, I believe that because it is, but it's the There you go, the word mark one. Level 27, Governor of Grey Tower, so, and then Treasury. So they've taken our Treasury. They stole it. That's very simple. But it's not the correct one, is it? It's this corp. So this is a private company running everything, and they've just taken every bit of asset we have, every bit of sweat equity, every bit of mining rights, natural resource, it's all gone. They've taken it and they swap us debt notes for it, and so this is why we end up in more and more debt, because every time we think we earn a dollar, we owe these guys a dollar. And I said the same thing about the Commonwealth. So I'll just get this one up here. Sorry about all the mucking around, guys. Just wanted to show you this evidence. So there we go, Commonwealth of Australia, registered. Now someone said, oh, it's an 18KA company, so that's a securities company. Yeah, the security is birth certificates. You're the security. They're banking on what you can pay, how much debt they can create for you. It's all there. So that's Commonwealth of Australia, registered the US Securities and Exchange Commission. Nothing new, you know all this stuff, guys. I just want to take you through a couple of other things, just quickly. This is the live birth certificate, allegedly, of Barack Obama. You can get it on the net. And everyone was talking about this, just going, wow, you know, he's not born in Hawaii, he's not, you know. And what no one's realised is that there's 3 companies. I put this video up before, but Barack Hussein Obama, all capitals. There's your word marks. They registered nothing, they registered 3 corporations. So, and here, right, this isn't a birth certificate that's written correctly according to the Chicago Styles Manual or even the Pittsburgh. It's not written in English. It's a cartoon, all your boxes. And which way do you read them? How do you work this information out? I mean, you could say it's a table, but if it's a table, the information in the table is still inaccurate. If you don't know how to read, this is what happens. Now I want to show you another one, which is a bit more correct. So this is the birth certificate of Prince. Who have we got here? Prince George. So see, it's all written nicely. This is they've got the original. So these ones are just copies of the original, certified copy. This is the original because they're royal. Royal means real. So her maiden name, Middleton. Look at that. There's your nice corporate letter form. Identify your word mark. Apparently you can get rid of it, and all you've got to do is marry a prince. So we've been doing it wrong. But he's prince of his occupation is Prince of the United Kingdom. But everything's written properly in title case, except Middleton, because she's a commoner. So that's how they get her, is she has to be corporate, and she has to have a trademark, and that's a trademark. And she lost that when she married him. So you know, signed by Willie there. He never had a trademark, Prince George, because you know his father was real. Real people, you can't trademark them. It's slavery. That's how it works. And so this is what the slavery, and I've put the slavery into the ICC for. Now I want to show you something else. I put my stuff into the High Court of Australia, and as I said, they didn't stamp the form properly. They simply basically left a big hole in the middle of the stamp and signed it. So there was nothing to be signed. So part 71 here, judicial power should be vested in a Supreme Court called the High Court of Australia. Right there, nice in title case, perfect. So what's the problem? I'll show you. The High Court was also taken by the invaders, the US Federal Reserve, and wherever their investors are in the military takeover. And then we get this, the High Court of Australia. So according to all the Styles manuals, that's another. That is not that. And I put this question to them. I think that's what they didn't want to answer. I said, is the High Court of Australia this one or this one? And this High Court does not need to be registered anywhere. It's a constitutional entity. We're not using the Constitution. We've all been contracted to deal with this one. It does say Commonwealth Government entity, but that's not correct. It is an entity of a Commonwealth Government, but it's not the right one. Now we can tell because under the High Court Act 1979, which basically provides some rules, was the High Court was supposed to have a seal with the words on it, the seal of the High Court of Australia written predominantly in title case. And this is what we've got. This video, when I previously did this one, made Chief Justice French quit, and he did it exactly 30 days after I put the video up. I remember him being on telly, and I went, how long did I put that video up? And then it was 1 month on YouTube. But this doesn't say this. They're different. It's simple as that. You know, they're not the same things. So guys, passing this off as this is deceptive conduct. It's fraud. It's probably a war crime, because under the rules of information protection in the US, you can't have a similarly named company, but here we are. And they've registered this trademark here in America, in the USA, through the US Federal Reserve. The US Federal Reserve is just a private company anyway. So, and I think that was all. I wanted to show you something too. This is, sorry, I'll just hold this one up here. So this application for passport. Use this form if you are an Australian citizen. Okay, so you can't get a passport if you're an Australian national. You have to have the surname. You have to have the trademark on this. Right, please use block letters. Please make it a corporate logo. Please trademark yourself. We need you to. And that's, so, you know, I couldn't even get a passport if I wanted to get out of the country. So guys, that's how it's all working. I just wanted to give you some rundown. Now, there was a bit on fraud. Fraud is actually factual. You can't have an opinion based on that would constitute fraud. So if you hired a lawyer and he said, oh, you've got no chance of winning, don't sue, and you went to another lawyer and you did win, you can't sue him for fraud because it's only an opinion. Fraud is based on fact. Even a legal opinion on how the law works and how it operates and what constitutes a crime and what doesn't is an opinion. It doesn't fall into fact. Guys, there's your facts. You know, if you can't, I don't know why I'm doing videos with Rom to teach the entire world to read a name. It's incredible. You know, if the styles manuals are too much, these surely can't be. Guys, and these are Chief Justices of the High Court. These are Prime Ministers. These are, you know, state judges. And they can't read and write, or they can, and they're deceiving you. Under the, you know, the possibility of thinking that this High Court here is this. That's deceptive. That's illegal. So that's where we're at. Sorry, Ron, if you can cut this to here. So guys, that's where we're at. You've got deceptive conduct here, High Court. They're still just trying to pass off word marks as names. It's wrong. I hope this evidence has helped you a bit. Guys, those two birth certificates, they're both the wrong ones, but as you can see, they're different. As they go along, they've been making new ones as they update the company. They close one company and bankrupt it, go to the next one. And each one of those documents is different. I've never applied to have the name my mother turned into a trademark. They just do this stuff. So that's how it all works. Hope I've answered a few questions. Oh, someone wants to know where you find the underlining. It's just in the Chicago in the front. So when prior to printing a document, they proofread it. And proofreading, when you underline it, that document for publication. Let's see if I can find it here for you. There should be it's just one page. No, sorry guys, I haven't got it offhand, but yeah, it's in the front here of the Chicago somewhere, and it just says that you know, when you're proofing a book, you underline it to remove that text. So these documents, when they're constructed, they're being constructed pre-press. So the document hasn't gone the full way. It's not finished. It's not set for publication. Yeah, sorry, I can't find it, but it is in here, and it's yeah, no good. Oh, here it is. 2.89. And guys, I'll show you. There's all the marks. And these are the punctuations they're using. So they make it look like, you know, it's a finished document, whereas actually it's just a pre-pressed document with all the marks in it ready to go. And then that's just another form of the grammatical corruption that we're looking at, and that's how they do it. Alright guys, I'll leave you to it and turn the fan back on and make some noise. It's all hot. Hope this sounds in this video is a bit better, and catch up with you soon.